Let's talk about who's doing good in our neighborhoods. Doing Good in the Neighborhood is sponsored by Ori Custom Florals. Whether you're looking for a single flower order or flowers for an entire event, whether it's something classic or unique, you can rely on Ori to create florals reflecting your individual needs and style. I'm telling you, he'll look at you and basically know what kind of flowers you like, or just has to ask you a few questions anyway. How about a monthly floral subscription for yourself, or maybe give one as a gift? Get all the details at oricustomflorals.com. And I met with Shannon yesterday. We're going to be putting up our next class with Ori coming up soon, so keep your eye out for that. All right, if your pet goes missing, do you know what to do? Well, the volunteers from Tailed Treasures know, and they're here to talk about tips and how they find lost pets and return them to their owners. Pet can be very, very traumatic, but these ladies are amongst some volunteers who actually will help you recover your lost pet. This is what we're talking about today. I've got Jill and Joanne and Sonia here today. You guys are from Tailed Treasures of Maryland. How did this organization get started?
Well, Jill Barsky, who's the founder of the rescue, she was rescuing pets the last 30 years. And I think in the last 10 to 15 years, she got into trapping. And she was for a lot of years doing this by herself. And now we have a team of people, which includes Jill, who's next to me, and Sonia, who's also on the call, and quite a few other people. Yeah.
Sonia, were you actually trapping or trailing pets before all of this?
On my own, I was. I had a couple cases in my neighborhood in the Villages of Urbana that I successfully helped reunite pets with their owners through social media and other networking channels, Next Door Neighbor, Ring Doorbell, etc. There are definitely names that pop out in the lost dog and cat community that you see over and over again. Mine, Jill Keaton, Serenity, the whole team. We have a passion for pets and we have a passion for helping people. And I think our individual cases that surfaced kind of created the team that we have become. Just working together on smaller jobs, and then 4 or 5 years later, all working hand in hand to, again, hopefully successfully reunite pets.
Wow. So I'm so fascinated by this. Every time somebody posts a lost pet on social media, many times your guys' name, either individually or as an organization, come up, or there's also, there's a whole Facebook page, right?
There's lots of Facebook pages. There's several in Frederick County alone. There's several in Montgomery County. Our efforts are typically focused on Montgomery and Frederick, but we branch out to Howard, Carroll, PG County. You branch out, you reach out to those that are in need, because they find us through Tailed Treasures. They find us through the lost pet community. We get tagged on a lot of the Facebook sites, a lot of the Next Door Neighbor sites. And when you're tagged on something, it's comical. Like, I'm the animal whisperer in the Villages of Urbana, and whenever I see myself tagged on a post in the Villages, right away I'm like, oh geez, whose animal's missing now? And the same happens with Joanne and Jill and all of us.
Yeah.
It's just it's a network of people, and our names have kind of been shared over and over and over again.
Well, that's a good thing, right? Because it means you guys have been successful in the past, so somebody's probably had an interaction or hopefully some good news and with a returned pet, and they want to share that. Let me ask Joanne and Jill, how do you figure out you're good at tracking or trapping domesticated animals?
So typically when a pet goes missing in our area, we reach out to the owners and we find out, how they went missing. have there been any sightings? We get the Montgomery County Lost page. Rachel and Debbie make flyers for the owners, which are really critical to getting lost pets home. They're really the number one thing to happen first, because if you don't have sightings or information, then we're not going to find the pet, right? So that's the first thing we really start with is get the flyers up, get everybody knowing, get it on social media, spread the word, report your pet loss to the shelter so that in case it's picked up, you'll be notified right away, things like that. So then if the pet is being seen in a certain area, what we do is once it's seen and it kind of settles down, we can put up cameras with feeding stations to see if the pet will come to the feeding station. And then if that is the case and the pet is still in the area, we will put a trap up to try to, safely, humanely trap them and get them back to their loved ones. Because especially with dogs and cats, when they go missing, they get out there and they're not with their owners and their loved ones, and they're in this big crazy world and they get scared. And we call it flight mode, where they don't even recognize their owners sometimes, like many times, like they go out and sit there and call for them and they won't come to them. And they're like, I don't understand, and it's just the pet that's missing is looking for food, shelter, and safety, at this point, because it's out of a safe environment. So, and so once we put the traps up, usually within a couple of days, I mean, we have some that take many, 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 many days. We usually can get the dog or the cat if it stays in the area. So we use all kinds of food and enticing things to get the animal to come to the trap and hopefully, go in the trap. So that's the kind of stuff that we do. So and there are services that do tracking, and, we recommend those in cases of maybe a sick pet, an elderly pet, a pet that is attached to a leash still possibly that could be stuck in the woods, and that's another process. We don't have tracking dogs, but we work with teams that do. And we would maybe, refer them in those cases. But typically, with our team, we get the trap up, we get the cameras up, and we work on getting the pet safe.
All right, so let's say I have a dog, which I do, and she escapes out of the yard, which is an unusual occurrence. What is the number one first thing I should do?
You should not chase after her. You should sit calmly and try to get her to come to you, because owners and the neighbors go chasing, and then the dog is, miles or blocks further from home. And I mean, Sonia can tell you, we've had many cases. I mean, she had a case in Urbana. Everybody was trying to help, but they were trying to get the dog, and the dog just kept running around in circles. I was on 270 at one point,
Twice.
Good.
So the worst thing you can do is chase the dog. I mean, of course you want to try to get your dog, but you would do it very calmly. You would sit calmly. You would try to call them to you with enticing food, things like that. And then you got to get the flyers up if they don't come to you and they run away. You want to get the flyers up so the community knows who to contact if they see your pet, right? So that's really the most critical thing. Then you're posting on social media. You've got it on social media, and hopefully you're getting in contact because it's on social media. Hopefully we're getting in contact to help you if you're in our area.
Agree 100%. I think I heard a tip one time. If you're trying to get your dog to come toward you, sometimes running away from the dog will encourage them to chase you. You know what I mean? Like if they're not injured or upset or hurt. But for sure. Sonia, what has been one of your most memorable reunions?
Probably my first one, which kind of is the reason I ended up in the lost animal rescue world. There was a missing cat in my neighborhood, Whiskey. Dead of winter, freezing cold. I happened to see the owner was very diligent about posting in the neighborhood website. I happened to be driving through the neighborhood and saw her hanging flyers, and I stopped and talked to her. And I just felt so bad for her because I've got cats of my own. And what would I do when it's freezing cold out? So
Yeah.
for 3 weeks, it took to get Whiskey home, and she pulled out all the stops. I did research then on my own, gave her words of encouragement, kind of was just moral support for her. And I'll never forget, it was, I don't know, 10 o'clock one night. I said, how badly do you want your cat home? You just need to sit outside tonight. I know it's freezing, but you just have to sit outside. And she got her cat that night at, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning. She set her alarm and got up at midnight. She got her cat back. She called me crying. My daughter and I went the next day with a care package for the cat. The cat went from 17 to 7 pounds.
Wow.
It's just that one feel good story, and I think you get sucked into it. And a
Yeah.
lot of people we help end up paying it forward, and now they help us when we need it because they know what it feels like when their pet goes missing, and
Yeah.
they want to help another pet owner because it's awful. It's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. So you all work other jobs, or is there? Yeah.
Full time, all of us. Yeah, this doesn't pay the bills. This is all
No.
volunteer work, and we do it. It's a labor of love, and we're all very passionate about animals.
Yeah.
And we really heavily rely on donations, and a lot of it does come out of our pocket. I mean, Joanne and Joe will attest to going to the grocery store and buying the products to put in the trap and the gas spent driving hours and hours looking or setting up the equipment, the cameras, the monthly subscriptions for the cameras. It's
Yeah.
all a lot of it comes out of pocket. And so no, we do have full-time jobs.
Yeah. Is Tailed Treasures a registered 501?
Yes,
It is.
Nice.
yes.
Okay. So, do you guys do any fundraising? Specifically like an event, or do you just look for donations all the time?
Well, we need to do more fundraising, clearly, and we make that post when we reunite the pets, and they go on our social media pages, and then we look for at anyone that sees the post to hopefully donate and be excited, that we helped reunite a pet, and but a lot of times, I mean, I can just say, I mean, unfortunately, we don't get the donations that we should. For what we do in the community, and
I'll
that's
need,
why. So
yeah.
hopefully, being on your show, getting more, exposure, would help.
I'm going to take a look at the social media posts you put out, and I'm going to
Okay.
offline give you a few tips and pointers on
Oh, great. Okay.
what you guys can do to help raise awareness about what you're doing, the cost that is incurred every time you do reunite somebody with and you want to keep those free, obviously, for the people that can't afford it or whatever.
Right.
But I've got
Right.
some ideas already about how we can help you.
That'd be great.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
I
any
mean,
and all
like,
ideas.
we had a case, the dog went missing, I think end of May. We didn't get him till September. He went missing. He was seen for a few weeks. We had moved the traps multiple times, and then he went. I mean, we never saw him. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, there was a sighting. It took us 8 days to trap him, and that was refreshing the food, and we could see him on the camera, but he just wouldn't go to the trap. But with patience and everything, and a lot, it really makes a difference when the owners are really heavily involved in helping as well. Like,
Yeah.
so these cases can be one night, or they can be weeks and weeks. Like, we can have a dog missing for 3 to 4 weeks, and we're working and we're moving traps and buying food and doing the whole thing. So
Unreal.
whatever
All
it
right.
takes, we get it
Yeah.
done.
Well, you guys are wonderful. I mean, I tell you, it takes something special to again fund yourselves basically and do this for complete strangers who just happen to have pets that have gone missing. So we applaud everything you guys are doing. I'm gonna vow to help you guys get where you need to be, where it's not such a financial burden for the volunteers because you're already volunteering your time. So I'm going to help you on that side of things, but I'll put the website up on the screen for everybody. Hey, go donate 15, 20, $10, whatever you can to cover the food, the gas, the equipment expenses that these volunteers are doing because one day you're going to need their help, and you don't ever want to have to get told, well, it's going to be $100 in order for us to find your pet, right? We don't ever want that. So you got to donate now, and it will come back to you tenfold, I promise. All right, we
Thank you,
appreciate
Danny.
you guys
Thank you.
joining me today. This won't be the last. I want to start to open up the channels, so when a pet goes missing, if you need the public's help, we can help get that word out for you as well. So we will be a resource for you in those cases too. Okay.
That's amazing. That's
Sounds good.
amazing.
Thank you.
Because the most
Yeah.
important thing, like we said, is getting the word out. I mean, so
Yeah.
that people
More
know who to
eyes.
call. Right.
More eyes watching. So
Exactly.
we want to get, I'm telling you, social media can track down wanted people from 20 years. So we know that they can find these pets if we just
Yeah.
give them the task. So we'll do it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
All
Thank
right,
you
ladies,
so
have a
much.
great day.
All right.
All right, we want to thank the ladies from Tailed Treasures. If you can donate, please do so.